welcome to Kicking Dust. Today we are going to look at some of well, I guess we're going to review where we are actually, because it's been a week since FanFest. It's been quite a week, I must admit. And we're going to discuss some of the portals of truth and justice, as in the forums. And particularly we're going to discuss what seems to be the attitude of the people in the game at the moment. And I think if we take the whole week in review, it obviously started with just an absolute flame fest of everything. You know, people were not happy with CCP, people were not happy with us, for God's sake, because they thought we had some super secret insider knowledge. We didn't know shit, bro. We didn't, okay? You know, the whole thing of that keynote was not great, and even CCP admit that. And I think that, yeah, the message was always going to be a difficult one anyway. Look, guys, your game sucks. There's not enough people playing it. I'm kidding. Don't blame me. I couldn't resist that one. Literally, the game obviously has issues. And I think as we're seeing more and more people stop logging in, it's just the population count is reduced to the point where you do have to sort of admit that it was always kind of inevitable that there was going to be some, you know, difficult decisions coming from a top brass member of CCP at some point to say, come on, we need to sort this out. And Legion is potentially what we have. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about Legion, but what I'm going to talk about is perhaps maybe the behaviors of what people are doing in the week that was the week that was, TW3. And what I think is interesting is how everybody has kind of, well, most people have gone through what I would call the coping cycle, which is a very shitty, crappy business model piece of rubbish that when you facilitate change, you always show people this thing where you kind of start with denial, you know, rejection, and then you kind of turn into acceptance and moving on. And that has kind of happened here, where the forums were alive with people's... I mean, I even, as I said many times, I had people sort of saying, let's do a crowdsource and buy the IP. No. And we had people like really, you know, not accepting that this game was in trouble and, you know, was potentially not going to be here for much longer. That was quite a difficult thing for people to hear, particularly when you've got people who use this game as a crutch. And... you know who you are. And that's a difficult message to say, sorry, we're taking you off methadone now. That's in essence what was said. The interesting part of this, in my mind, is that was like day 2, 3, 4. Now, at day 5, we started to see more people coming around to it. And what I have been surprised at, and I think people, again, if you're a diehard Dusty, you're going to flame me for this, but since it was announced, I have probably had the same number of people raging at me, the same number of people saying this is a brilliant idea. I hated that Dust was on the console, and I wanted to be on PC again. I don't have a PS3 anymore. I don't have this. I don't want to play a console game, blah, blah, blah. That was vox pops of somebody's opinion, not my own. So don't you dare use that in a soundbite or some Pyrex said. Don't. I mean it. I am still upset that it's not going to be on console, because I do like that it is on console. Because what console means is that you do have, I guess, an easier. Let me be clear. You do have an easier way to play the game. You switch it on, load it up, and play it. Whereas when it comes to PC, you're going to get some pretty crazy people playing the game, more so than we have now, who will just literally lose themselves to it. And particularly when you come to Eve. Eve is such a fanatical player base. I know, I was one. And, you know, they're going to be incredibly into Legion. And I mean that in a nice way. I mean into Legion. They will just go crazy for it. Now, the thing, we won't again talk too much about the mechanics, but you will be able to escape these people. So it's not going to be like you're stuck with them. So that's probably just the first thing to say before you kind of get a bit scared. The problem with Dust at the moment is you can't escape these people. So, you know, you go into an ambush and you get Duna in his tank. He ruins your game for you. Yes, he's good at what he does, but, you know, the game is a crutch to this dude now. And he cannot help himself, and he plays 8, 9, 10 hours a day doing ambush with the same heavy suit, the same prototype blaster on a Madruga. And that's it. That is what he does. And the answer to this now has been before. He's amassing a huge amount of money to maybe take over more than to maybe do something with it. Now that Dust is kind of done, why is he doing it? It's because it's a crutch. It's an emotional and psychological crutch to him. And I don't think that's a good thing. I feel sorry for the guy, I actually do. Because, yeah, that can't be nice to then hear that your I don't know, your dependent thing, your dependent state is now going to go. So I do really have a genuine concern how some people are going to take this, because I think when you play a game for so long, any game really, when it's gone, because nothing lasts forever, when it's gone, it can be quite a psychological tearing away of part of your psyche. And I'm using nickel and dime store nickel and dime store analysis here, but it still holds true, because I think a lot of players have become so used to this game being there for free, that when it's no longer there, it's going to be hard. That's really my case in a nutshell, because I do worry that people are going to have they're going to be upset. And that, I don't want anyone to be upset. Believe it or not, I am not some grand master troll. I'm not actually like that. I do like people. I mean, I'm not antisocial. And I do sort of think to myself, well, I don't want people to be hurt and upset. Not that I'm saying they will. I'm blowing this out of proportion, I know. But I do think that the Legion piece is going to be quite interesting. And I think the switchover is going to be very interesting as well, because I just think, quite frankly, it's going to be quite a difficult migration as well, because we don't know anything about Legion at all, really, other than, hey guys, here's a map, and that's interesting as well. I think there's lots out there, there's lots going on, and there's lots out there that I think really just keep tuned to everything. Dust isn't dead yet, but and I think now is actually the time to enjoy it, because you will play it with a much lighter, more enjoyable frame of mind that I think will benefit you. And I think, as we start to see more and more kind of, bits coming through from CCP, we'll start to see hopefully some more gameplay footage, maybe some videos. That'd be nice. Hint, hint, Saberwing. I think that'd be cool, wouldn't it? It'd be just good to see little snippets, almost like Legion bites or something like that. And just to start to show and build a bit of an appetite for it. I think what they've done at FanFest was great. FanFest was a week ago. What I'd like to see now is maybe a commitment or just a discussion from CCP to say, guys, how do you want maybe your media to be fed to you? What would you like to see? Personally, I still think Saberwing should, there should be like a Legion CCP YouTube channel, and they should just go with that, because that's how most people consume video footage now, and I think that would be quite cool. Now, there is a Legion sub-forum already that's popped up. That's quite interesting as well, and I think it's kind of cool that lots of people are posting ideas there. That's really nice. I'm sure CCP are loving that, because that does give them quite a bit of, I guess, ability to discuss and test and review content and mechanics, and I think that's kind of cool as well. If I was maybe to give one area of concern I do have, is that this isn't a CPM troll, I promise you, because I have absolute respect for what they've done. It's that the whole, now that the message is out, it's very clear to see how hard a job they had, really, with that whole thing, knowing that Dust was in essence going to end. I can sympathize with that, but I would probably say that the best thing CCP should do now is not necessarily, I don't know, I don't want them to kind of lean too much on that CPM too much longer, because I think they've done what they can, and I think there's still a fair bit of respect issues going on there. What I would like to see CCP do, and they said this in their white paper, so they probably are doing this already, is building a list of high value players. And these are people like, in my mind, Bear, for example. Bear is, a notorious guy, but he's an incredibly good player of this game. And getting him to test it, or somebody like him, would be interesting. Now, I don't know. I mean, I've never met the guy, but I think he is one of these kind of people that I would say is a quote high value player. Someone like Judge or Evo would be good as well, because they would have the ability for the dropship side as this as well. If they are doing dropships, I don't know, but this to me makes more sense than kind of relying on a CPM that I debate if they highly play the game. I debate if they have specialization like others do, and maybe that would be a thing to benefit that, because again, it can't be easy to become constantly hated like they are. And I think there has been just significant calls for the whole CPM to be redone. Start CPM 1, let's get some new people in. It's a difficult situation. I actually have no opinion on it either way, because I think the CPM are doing a good job. But I think that they can't be giving terribly fresh ideas anymore. Their ideas are done. They've already given them in to dust. And I think the next step surely would be an unelected, but also unvisual. They're not going to get any powers or forum tags or anything like that. Just an advisory panel of people who really know this game and play it, and I don't include myself in that, by the way, because I'm a YouTuber, what do I know? But I think this could be more beneficial to CCP than any CPM election process, which is always going to be angled towards one way or the other. Just an idea, just a thought. They may already be doing this, because that whole CPM white paper thing even hinted that they were. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.